Welcome to the Internet of Things Made Simple. I'm Larry by Humor. In this preview episode, we look at the question of, sometimes, is it better to get slower as you age? It kind of reminds me of this topic of an episode of Frasier. And if you're familiar with the show, it's the one where Niles goes into the sperm bank to actually find out if they ever use the deposit that he had dropped off in college. He then finds out that it was actually too slow to be used. Being concerned as he's trying to conceive, he asks the nurse, "Does that mean that I'm going to have a problem conceiving now?" And she looks at him all stone-faced and says, "Well, are you faster running than you were 20 years ago?" Normally as things age, they tend to get slower. I know as a runner, it's kind of disappointing to me that even though I'm putting in more work and more effort than it seems like last year, I'm really not getting any faster. And in fact, I'm probably getting a little slower. However, that is usually not the case for technology. As things progress, they get faster, they get cheaper, they get smaller, whatever they're trying to accomplish. Two new cellular technologies are going to try to disprove the fact that you can't actually improve as you slow down. And we'll talk more about that when we get back from a short break. One issue when you're doing a show like this is how technical do you make things? If you go too low on the scale, those that are in the IoT field are going to find it beneath them and are going to exit pretty quickly. If you get too nerdy, you're going to go over the head of a lot of newbies, and that's not going to do very well for them either. So I'm going to try to walk the middle ground on this one. Over the next 18 to 24 months, you're going to see two new IoT-based networks emerge. Although I'm going to list them separately, going forward after that, you can pretty much consider them to be the same thing for most people, because it'll offer the same effects, and there is a difference, I know, but let's keep it simple. The two networks are called CAT-M1, so CAT as in uses the litter box, Michael 1, and NB-IoT, or Narrowband Internet of Things. What these two networks will do is keep customers on the latest and greatest technology, so they still are based on a 4G technology. Customers don't have to worry about becoming obsolete too fast. And they're going to offer less speed. And you might wonder, how is that a good thing? If you don't need that speed, why would you pay for it? And that's kind of the theory behind these two networks. Most IoT devices send bits and bytes back and forth, so they don't need all the high-end speed. What they need is a reliable network. By taking out a lot of the components that are used for speed, and I am really simplifying that, you're going to do two things. Simpler modules are lower cost. So you're going to bring down the cost of the modules, and we're going to talk about why that's important in a second. The second part is that by taking out those components, you're going to reduce the amount of power the modules require. Lower cost, I think, makes a lot of sense to most people, and they understand that. But what it will do is, it will allow IoT to be put into more devices, especially cellular IoT, than ever before. And that includes things that needed to be tracked. Right now, most things being tracked are really high value. Car, a proverbial bag of diamonds, stuff like that. By bringing down the cost of these devices, you're going to see tracking much more often. In terms of the lower power consumption, if you're running, a car or a big vending machine, then I doubt the cellular module was really a consideration when you were determining how much power that device needed. However, if you're running a very low-cost tracking device that runs on battery, the lower power consumption that comes from these networks will allow the batteries to last longer, or perhaps even put a smaller battery in the first place. By doing these things, we're going to find more devices become smart, especially on the cellular side. And there's three main benefits to people and to businesses for doing that. As devices become smarter, they often become better. So manufacturers are able to pull back information and see what's going on and use that to make a better product. Today, they're doing it on Wi-Fi more often than not, and that means you're relying on the customer to actually put the product on their Wi-Fi network. And we're going to cover that a bit more in segment 3. In terms of service, people are always saying, I hate calling in a customer service. It's a real pain. They never know what's going on. You hear all those complaints. Because the manufacturer or the servicer, depending on who you call, is going to have information about your device, they're able to make changes over the air and in some cases, actually fix the problem before you even call in, which is the ultimate way to do service. Finally, it's going to improve productivity, and this is more aimed at the business side. If you think about all your different employees, customer service, sales, operations, you name it, the more information, and specifically the more valued information like uptime and error codes and stuff like that you give them, the more productive they're going to be. Less trips back to the office, less time on hold, those kind of things. So, in the final segment, we're going to talk about, will this put an end to some Wi-Fi being used in IoT devices? And how does this contrast to 5G? Back soon. So by default, many devices today come with Wi-Fi on board. Those are especially ones that are meant to be used in your home or in your office. And that's everything from consumer devices to some business appliances and other products. What you're going to start to see, and you're going to see it more gradual in some markets, is that Wi-Fi will be replaced by cellular. The reason for most companies to do this is because with Wi-Fi, you're expecting or requiring your customer to enable and maintain that Wi-Fi connection at all times for you to be able to talk to your product. Once you add cellular connectivity to it, as long as the device is within range of a cell tower, you'll actually be able to communicate with it and you won't have that reliance on your customer. However, I don't see it killing off Wi-Fi all that soon, if it ever does. The reason being is that Wi-Fi doesn't require an ongoing bill, and depending on the length of the device being deployed in the field, that ongoing bill might add up to a significant amount. And the other part is that if the customer is never likely to take the device out, so if you take for instance like a smart furnace, which really shouldn't be leaving your house, there really is no need for cellular connectivity. So Wi-Fi is not going anywhere anytime soon. The other one is to contrast 5G, which we're going to cover in much more detail in one of our full-length podcasts. 5G is also coming to market. It's been all over the news in the last little while, and it's offering just unbelievable speeds, usually faster than what most people would get in their homes. 5G is going to focus more on things that really are mobile and really do require the high-speed connection. So if you look at self-driving cars, obviously they can't have any kind of slowdowns. If they're communicating with a server or sending information, it has to be in real time and as fast as possible. So self-driving cars and other devices will definitely push 5G forward. The other area, again, which we're going to cover way more in the oncoming podcast, is that 5G is going to replace a lot of cable and DSL connections at home. So you are going to see a push by a lot of these cellular device guys and network providers into more that home replacement market as well. I hope you enjoyed this preview podcast. I look forward to talking to you a bit more before our actual launch on November 1st. Podcasts are going to be available anywhere where you can download them. Thanks for listening. I'm Larry Bohumor.